Hello, Red Wings. You're in the Roots with Joshua Rieger, and I am here with Mr. Alberto. Say hi.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing just fine. Getting over a cold, but
Oh, that's unfortunate.
doing okay.
So, if you don't, as most of you guys may know, he is the assistant wrestling coach. Which is that correct?
That's correct.
And unfortunately, we couldn't get the head coach because he's working somewhere else. But so I thought I'd interview you instead. And I have a couple questions if you don't mind me asking.
Sure thing.
My first question is, what are some things that the team needs to work on regarding to like anything?
Well, I think similar to football, we really want to focus a lot on off-season training. However, I understand it's difficult for kids because they spend so much time putting in the effort during the season that once it gets to be the off-season, they want to break. And so, but if you want to be competitive in D1 and you want to be one of the best teams, and that is the time that you need to put the work and the effort in. So our off-season training program is probably one of the biggest areas that we want to grow in, as well as recruitment of kids and also just high-functioning practices.
That sounds good. And so describe how you coaches are going to make the season more enjoyable, because I know for football, it was a lot of grind last year. So what are you trying to do for this year?
One thing that I would recommend, and we'll take a look at this for next year, is to make we tried our best to make some of the practices more enjoyable in terms of adding games at the end. We also had a team dinner midway through the season where everyone brought in food and we watched a movie, and it was just a good time to bond. So I would say more things like that would be good.
Okay. And so describe what your life looks like on the off season when it comes to being an assistant coach.
We in season coaching is 24/7. I'm thinking about it. I'm dealing with kids. For my position, especially, I mean, we all have our different designated roles as coaches, but for me, I take a lot on of what goes on in the school, so I pay attention to kids' grades, their attendance. I will try to handle any sort of drama that could potentially go on, but we also handle that together as a team of coaches as well. So, but a lot of, again, it's planning, it's making sure that kids are on weight, it's coming up with practice plans and carrying out those practice plans, and so lots of stuff.
And so, as an assistant coach, what do you need to do to improve your skills or your ability to train kids?
Well, I think that at the end of the year, every year, we always send out a form for the kids to fill out so that they can give us some feedback on things and ways that we can improve. But I think one of the biggest things that I've seen from my kids that they'd like me to improve on is to be more active in practice. And so I always feel as if I have improved in that area over the past year or so, but I use our designated roles as coaches as an excuse sometimes to maybe be a little bit less engaged in practice than I should be. And so I want to make sure that I'm actively circulating the room more, that I'm wrestling with the kids more, but I've also always felt a little bit more self-conscious about wrestling with the kids since I am quite a bit heavier than many of them, so I don't want to injure them. So whatever the case is, I just want to make sure that I am present, like mentally and physically present, more so in practice. Not to say that I'm doing a terrible job with that now, but just more so.
All right. How do you manage your time with the players, and how does, if you know from what Josh is going to say, how does he manage your time?
Between Josh, the head coach, and myself?
Yes.
How do we manage our time with our players? Well, we spend a lot of time talking with the kids. I obviously have a bit more time with them since I'm in the school and they can come to my room and talk to me about things. But we try to do as best we can to develop, individual relationships with all the kids and have good rapport with the kids so that they feel comfortable coming to us with problems and with their goals and struggles. And so I think we do a pretty good job of that. We have a good relationship with most of our kids, but there is always going to be challenges dealing with people with different personalities. So
Definitely.
we just do the best we can.
Yep. So what are some expectations that you have for players to help their performance?
A lot of it comes down to what we do during the season and during the off season. And so during the season, all we ask for is just 100% effort. Honestly, it just, do you buy in? Are you at practice on time? Are you putting in your effort with your classes and going to class? Are you giving it your all during practice? I mean, obviously there's going to be days where you just are having a tough day and you're not going to be able to go 100%, and that's okay. But, the rest of the time, are you pushing through? And in the off season, are you doing what you can to get into the weight room and into the wrestling room and improve your skills? It doesn't have to be every day, all day. It just, can you get up there and push yourself so that you're better for next year?
Yes, definitely. And so my final question is, how do you push sportsmanship while being competitive at the same time towards other opponents and your team?
We always encourage handshakes, obviously, at the beginning and at the end of the duel. That's something that's just has to be done in general. But we tell our kids not to throw their headgear because throwing headgear after a match in frustration leads to a deduction of a team point, and it just doesn't look good. But obviously, we know that emotions can run high. We also try to emulate good sportsmanship as coaches by when frustrating calls happen from a referee during a match, we try not to overreact and approach the bench in a calm manner to talk with the referee. So I think us as coaches are the first step in demonstrating sportsmanship, but we also specifically go over this as an expectation with the group at the beginning of the season.
Thank you, Mr. Alberto, for your time, and have a nice day, Red Wings.